WICR.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This right here is a three-man weave. We got yours truly, Sean Edwards, with my fellow host,
Brendan Clark.
You also got Josh C. Martin on here.
my guy, Josh C. Martin. Well, guys, let's get this party started. So, to tip it all off, we're only going to talk about, the league's leading guy in three-point shooting,
That's Ray
none
Allen.
other than Mr. Shuttlesworth himself,
Yeah.
Mr. He Got Game, Mr. 34, Mr. Ray Allen. Yes, so right now, as we all know, Ray Allen's been absent from the league, since tip-off of the league and whatnot and what have you. Basically, right now, within 8 days left, he's going to decide which ball club he's going to be joining.
Mm-hmm.
And in the mix, we have here the Golden State Warriors, the Atlanta Hawks, the Miami Heat, Denver Nuggets, Spurs, and Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, amongst these teams that are in the mix, the Cavaliers and the Spurs are his two highest considerations. Now, guys, let's weigh in on this subject. I'd like to hear from you guys, starting with either one. Which team do you guys think is the best fit for Ray Allen and why?
I think that in between the two that are up for consideration, you have the Spurs and the Cavaliers. I think that first that Ray Allen has he's really thinking about trying to get a championship fast. That's one of the reasons why he's going to be really considerate on his choice. I think that if he goes to the Spurs, it's a great system for him to already start off and be a factor in, and also for the Cavaliers. But the difference between the Spurs and the Cavaliers is that if he goes to the Cavaliers, he has some type of relationship already with some of the players. He has LeBron James, who he's played with for the last couple years. He won a ring with him the first year that he came to Miami to try to help them with that squad. Really helped them out in Game 6 against the Spurs in the finals about 2 years ago. And I think that if he's talking about having a good relationship and really enjoying the game for his last couple years, leading the league already in like threes, I think that he should go to Cavaliers. The Spurs does have a really great system. However, I think that the Cavaliers would be a better fit. But it is kind of tricky, only because Cavaliers are known to have a lot of great shooters already. They have already a lot of people who need the ball to perform. You have LeBron James already, who needs the ball to perform. He could dish it out to Ray Allen, but you have Kyrie Irving also. Then you have Kevin Love, who's forced to play at the three. And then you have J.R. Smith, who's also another person to play against the three. And then we think about the Spurs, you have role players that everybody will swing the ball. And then Ray Allen, since he's not a great dribble move person, he could really work with that system. It's really difficult between the Spurs and the Cavaliers, but I think the Cavaliers because of the chemistry, but I think the Spurs also only because he'll be able to. They need shooters, because you think about the top three for the Spurs. You think about Tim Duncan, you think about Tony Parker and Ginobili. There's a lot of times where Pop just lets them. Greg Pop, he lets them sit down. He sits down games. So when they're out, especially Tim Duncan's out, you need another shooter, and Ray Allen's that person. So it's a really big toss up. But that's what I have to say about that.
I mean, for me, I would say the two teams that should really be focused on should be between Cleveland and Golden State Warriors. Now, the reason why I say the Golden State Warriors, it'll be a perfect system for him. You already have three-point shooters, yes, but you can add now a veteran presence to that team that team doesn't really have a lot of, and he can come off the bench and just get threes all day for them. They don't have to do anything. He can be a nice backup player behind Klay Thompson. And with a coach like Steve Kerr, who's also a shooter, you just have the three-point line just got that much richer for them. Because no team could defend them now for threes. They got threes all the time. If you add Ray Allen to the factor, I can say definitively they will be my favorites to win the championship. Now for Cleveland, for obvious reasons, it will be Cleveland because his history with LeBron. He played with LeBron. He played with James Jones. He knows a lot of the players there. And David Blatt needs another veteran player who can help bring the team together, because that team right now, even though they are winning now, they still have confusions on people's roles. Mm-hmm. And Ray Allen is a player who knows, okay, I come to this team, this is my role, this is what I need to do. and I can get the baskets. I know you don't need me to be a top-tier defender, or you don't need me to be a guy to get 20 points a night. You need me to get my 9 to 15 points a night, shooting threes, help space the floor, help LeBron when he can't get into the paint to dish it out to someone on the three-point line, and that's what I can be. And that's what they need. Now, with the Spurs, that would be a perfect fit for him, but the veteran, because they're all veterans there, but the only problem is that, one, the Spurs is in the West. Two, they've slipped down the standings instead of being a top 4 team. They're toward the end of the playoffs seedings. And I don't know if the Spurs will really need another Ray Allen when they have Marco Bellinelli. Because, I mean, they already have three-point shooter Marco Bellinelli and with Manu Ginobili. So do you really want to add a Ray Allen to that factor to shoot threes as well? I mean, it's possible, but I don't know if it'll be the best fit for him.
I would just... You got something to say?
Oh, go ahead. Dwell on this some more.
Yeah, I got something to say because at least for the Warriors, they're known to be a very high offensive team. That's one of the things that they are, and they've really improved their defense for this year, this season. I think that when you think about the Spurs, you were able to name 2 people, but if you think about the Warriors, you could name about 4.
True.
You think about Stephen Curry, he'll go. I don't think that the Warriors will require they need a three-point shooter because they already have specialists already. At least 2 people in their starting 5. You have Klay Thompson and you have Stephen Curry. You also have Green that can pop it from the 3 also. You could have Harrison Barnes that might want to shoot a 3. You could have Andre Iguodala, not that efficient, but he'll be the one to also try to shoot a 3. And you just have, and that's the one thing. I know that they brought Andre Iguodala for the veteran presence, and you were talking about veteran presence with Ray Allen coming to that squad. But I think that his role for the three-point shot would not help that team. I think that the one thing they might need is just some more size. They're already a fast team, but I think that Ray Allen going there would only just say the fact that, okay, it would just show that their focus is the three-point line. And I was just thinking about the game against the Bulls the other day that it seemed like they live and die by the 3. Because I remember they played the Bulls and then the score was 113 to 111, and they haven't hit 1 3 at all in the second half and overtime. And it's kind of like, you're thinking about it like they're a winning team. They're not like the Knicks where they just lose and they live and die by the 3, but they're winning. But the thing is, I think that because they're already efficient, that just happened to be one game. I believe that's just because they're so efficient already that they don't need another three-point shooter for the Warriors.
Okay, I could agree with that.
Yeah, because you make a good point there about the Warriors. I mean, they are a strictly running gun basketball team, and I think the addition of Ray Allen would just further emphasize that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Living and dying by the 3s some more, and I think that's not the key component that they lack. So, you know, in playoff time, right now is great, but what happens when those shots don't fall? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where I think they have a gap. But in terms of where I stand on this subject now, I'm going to go with the defending champion San Antonio Spurs, despite, you know, the woes they've been enduring during the regular season right now. And so when I made this consideration, you know, I just thought of it from all aspects. Here we have the financial perspective first. A lot of teams, actually pretty much every other suitor in this whole mix, can only offer Ray Allen pretty much the veteran minimum or around the veteran minimum. The Spurs are the only team that can offer him the most, more than that, you know, around $5.3 million. And Ray Allen did say in an interview during the summertime that he understands that a lot of teams are going to throw that veteran minimum at him. But at the end of the day, he's a player who still feels like he, you know, has something to prove, and he has an ego too. You know what I mean? And he wants those dollars that he feels like his presence is worth. So that right there might just be the tipping point in terms of his final decision. And so we have that financial perspective. And now we look at the team as a whole and, you know, their impact on the court. This system right here caters to veteran players. You know what I mean? Like how many veteran players do the Spurs have that are efficient in this system? And you look at it, they, like how we mentioned, okay, Ray Allen's had so much success off of the three-point shot itself. The Spurs love the three-point shot. You know what I mean? However, although they're shooting 28.2% during taking those 3-point shots, which is second to last in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Ray Allen would help them. He would help them in that gap, in that hole. Ray Allen would definitely provide a spark plug. And when you think about that in terms of their scoring, right now they're scoring 103.8 points per 100 possessions, which is 22nd in the league ranked. Ray Allen would definitely help, on the scoring side of the ball. And then predicated on offense and spacing. Okay, we get the whole gist of that.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Allen would find himself, based on how much they emphasize facilitating, spotting up more. And obviously as a shooter, when you're spotting up more, you're going to be shooting a better percentage, often when that happens.
Yeah. And that's how they play.
Yeah, exactly. And let's just keep in mind, gentlemen, that the Spurs, like how we used to say about the Miami Heat when LeBron was there, that they're about April, May, and June, we can pretty much say the same thing about the Spurs now.
Yeah.
As long as they get themselves a playoff spot, they will be fine. Because I think in the Western Conference, not so much the Eastern Conference, seeding in terms of the regular season doesn't really matter in terms of deciding whether you will ultimately win a championship or get to the finals at the very least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that playoff ball, that playoff type basketball, it fits right into what the Spurs want. It clearly does. And when they have a fully healthy assembled group, that's all she wrote. That's all that they need. And Ray Allen just gels perfectly, in my opinion. Just gels perfectly.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Well, hold on, guys. So now that anybody have anything to add to that, actually?
The only thing I gotta say is that I don't know if the money is gonna be that important of a factor.
Okay, you don't know if the money's gonna be that important of a factor?
Yeah, I think he'll still take the veteran minimum as long as the team is in position to play for a championship. He will take that. He'll take less money for that.
Yeah, I just hope that for Ray Allen that, like, I'm just wondering because, you're thinking about the money, thinking about the veteran salary, how long he feels like he needs to be in the league, how long, what I forgot his age. He's high up there.
Yeah.
But
like
38. Yeah, I just give it like maybe 2 years or a year. I think it's like push or pressure time because he knows he still got it. I could definitely believe he's been working this offseason about how his threes are and things like that. So I just really hope that I think he's just like, I want it now. And I think that's the same reason that LeBron wants it. I don't know how bad the Spurs are because I remember watching First Take, and then I was watching how Skip Bayless was talking about his Spurs. He's from Texas, and he loves the state. He loves all the teams. He's rooting for the Cowboys too in the playoffs and things like that. But I was just watching, and he was just talking about how non-serious it seemed like the Spurs are for their team. You talk about what you call it? How Greg Pop, he just had his 1,000th career game.
Yeah.
And then you see how he wasn't really a celebratory person, but at the same time, and also a game versus the Atlanta Hawks, how they lost. They're still like, what is it, like the 7th, 8th seed?
Yeah,
like they're really close to really losing their spot because every team in between, like before, like the 7th and 9th and 10th seed, they're only back a game by at least one game.
Yeah, about a game and a half.
Yeah, and then above them, I forgot who was on top for the 7th seed, but it's 0.5. So it just shows how if Ray Allen goes to the Spurs, that would be a great fit, like you're saying, Sean.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a good fit too. However, when you talk about how difficult the West is, if you talk about the East, if you go to the East, he would have a better shot. All he has to do, I think, for him, because he's such a clutch player, is maybe just get in the AFC, whatever. But for the Spurs, it might be a toss-up. It just might be a toss-up to get to the playoffs. But you just gotta know. I don't know how it weighs out. You talk about injuries, and the other thing with the Spurs, and once again, is just that Pop lets his veterans rest.
Yeah,
that's true.
And Tim Duncan, he's official. He's an all-star right now, but who knows how many games he's gonna let him stop playing before the playoffs, so he could be healthy.
Yeah, that's true. You mentioned health and rest, and wear and tear on your body, which is what makes me think that the Spurs are going to be the best fit because look at how, you know, they play all the way down to the 10th man practically. Ray Allen's not going to have to play a lot of minutes if he joins that ball club. But, guys, we're going to have to wrap this segment up right now. So, you know, we're going to take a brief moment to break, and then we're going to come back with my guy, Rob Jiggity, you know. Jossie, thanks for contributing.
No problem. Thanks a lot, man.
So we'll be back with 3-Man Weave.